It happened right after Christmas dinner. I glanced at my phone and noticed something off. My credit card had been charged for every single gift under the tree. Before I could even ask, Dad looked up and said matter-of-factly, "We voted. You don't have kids, so we figured you should pay for the ones who do." My hands were trembling as I reached for my phone. "Well," I said slowly, meeting his gaze, "you're really gonna love what happens next." He chuckled, thought I was joking. The next day my phone exploded. 53 missed calls, cousins yelling, mom sobbing, even Dad actually begging me to stop, but it was already too late. Flashback to the night before. My hand froze mid-air, still gripping my fork. I had just checked my phone under the table, and at first I thought it had to be some glitch. $3,642 charged to my account that morning. But when I opened the breakdown, everything became crystal clear. Department stores, toy outlets, online gift sites, all the presents, every last one. I leaned in and asked, quiet but sharp, "Who did this?" The room buzzed with holiday noise, crackling wrapping paper, off-key carols playing in the background. But my words cut clean through all of it. Dad looked up from his wine glass unbothered. "We voted," he repeated, like he was commenting on the weather. "You don't have kids. The rest of us do. So we figured it made sense for you to cover gifts for the little ones this year." I just blinked, trying to wrap my head around it. He kept going, like he was explaining taxes. "It's only fair. You've got fewer expenses." I looked around the table, at Mom, who suddenly found her plate very interesting, at my sister, sipping wine while her twins tore open the Lego sets I apparently bought, at my cousin Jeff, who gave me a half-hearted shrug, like he knew it was wrong but wasn't about to speak up. "You used my card," I said, trying to stay calm. "Without asking. You all just decided I'd fund Christmas because I'm not a parent?" Mom mumbled, "You always say you don't mind helping." "Helping?" I echoed, almost laughing. "Helping is voluntary. What you did, that was a group decision made behind my back." Dad shrugged. "Don't be so dramatic. It's just money. You've got plenty." My heart started pounding. I could barely hear over the thud in my chest. I scanned the table, 12 people. Half of them hadn't spoken to me in months unless they needed a favor or a loan. And now they'd all silently agreed I should fund their holiday. Like being childless was a tax bracket. Like I was some reward system they could cash in. "You're unbelievable," I said, pushing back my chair. "Sit down," one of my cousins snapped. "Don't ruin the mood. The kids are having a good time." "Oh, don't worry," I said, reaching into my pocket. "I'm not here to ruin the mood. I'm here to end the show." Dad narrowed his eyes. "What's that supposed to mean?" I met his gaze head on. "It means you're about to find out." He laughed, actually laughed, like I was bluffing. Like I was too soft to finally do what I should have done a long time ago. He wasn't laughing the next day, because by the time all those calls came through, the screaming, the crying, the begging, I had already hit send, and there was no taking it back. You don't just wake up one morning and realize your family sees you as a wallet number. That realization comes slowly, quietly. It was like a leak under the floorboards. You only notice the rot once the whole thing collapses. And for me, that rot started years ago, right after college. I landed a job in tech, nothing flashy, just steady hours, decent health insurance, and a paycheck that cleared. Meanwhile, my sister got pregnant at 23 and moved back in with our parents. My cousin Ethan Moore dropped out of grad school and spent the next 7 years figuring things out. My parents said it was a rough patch. Everyone's going through something. And me, I was the one who had it together. That's how they phrased it every time. "You're doing well. You don't need much." My mom would say that with a soft smile, patronizing and sweet all at once. "You're lucky," she'd remind me. And Sienna Rhodes? She once took a rent check from me and said, "You should share that luck." At first it was little things. School supplies for the kids, gas money for someone's job interview, pitching in for a birthday gift I didn't know about. Then it became a rhythm. Then it became constant. When my brother Caleb Turner lost his job, I paid his rent 6 months straight. When cousin Lily Hartman wanted to launch a business, I covered her Shopify fees, bought her first round of inventory. She sold 2 items, never brought it up again. When Uncle Martin Blake had a medical scare with no insurance, guess who stepped in? Me. Every time, it was me. And I told myself, this is what family does. But here's the truth. Family doesn't hand you the knife and then thank you for bleeding. They bled me dry, and I let them. The worst part? They acted like they were doing me a favor. You get to feel good about helping. Your name's on the card. That's special. Don't be so uptight. We're family. Not once, did anyone say thank you. And it wasn't just the money. It was my time, my energy, my attention, my entire emotional bandwidth. I became the default babysitter, the emergency contact, the guy who always showed up when something went wrong. One Christmas Eve, I came down with the flu, fever, chills, couldn't even stand. I texted Mom to say I couldn't make it. Her reply? Okay, but can you still send the gifts? The kids are counting on you. I remember sitting on my bathroom floor, wrapped in a blanket, sweating and shivering, and thinking, they only remember I exist when there's a bill attached to me. But the moment that truly shifted everything, the spark that lit the fuse, it came 3 months before that Christmas dinner. I had taken my niece to the bookstore and told her she could pick anything. $150 later, she had art supplies, hardcover books, and a giant stuffed sloth she named Slumpy. She was thrilled. So was I, until I brought her home. Where's Slumpy from? My sister asked. I smiled. She picked it out at the store. We had a great time. She frowned. You're spoiling her. You think being the fun uncle means buying her love because you've got money. I blinked. What? She scoffed. Honestly, maybe spend less on toys and more on a personality. It hit so hard I almost laughed. I had spent my weekend with her child. Time I could have used to rest, date, breathe. And instead of a thank you, I got insulted. As if being helpful made me weak, pathetic. That was the moment the mask came off. Not hers. Mine. And I finally saw them for what they were. Takers dressed up as loved ones. Experts in guilt. They didn't respect me. I'm not even sure they liked me. I wasn't family to them. I was an ATM with a heartbeat. Then December came, and with it, the usual chaos. Christmas plans started circulating in the family group chat around mid-November. Of course, I was expected to host again, buy for all the kids again, be Santa with a platinum credit limit, again. And this year, I was ready to say no. I really was, until my dad texted me directly. You're great at this kind of thing. Why don't you just handle all the gifts again? We'll settle up later. Right, later. I hadn't been settled up for last year, or the year before, so I replied short and cold, only if we agree in advance who's paying. He left me on red, didn't reply for 3 weeks. I thought maybe they got the message. They didn't. Instead, they used my backup card, the one I gave Mom years ago, just in case. Apparently, she still had the number, and apparently, she'd shared it. The statement said it all. Purchases from 5 different stores, none near her. She hadn't bought anything. They had bought everything. And when I brought it up at dinner, they laughed. They laughed. Dad looked me dead in the eye and said, we voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do. Like it was logic, like it was fair, like this was some kind of democracy, and my right to say no didn't count. That was when it hit me. They meant it. They truly believed I existed to lighten their load, that because I didn't have children, I owed something to those who did, that my peace, my income, my existence was optional, a bonus, a tax. So when I stood up and said, you're going to love what comes next, they didn't flinch. Dad laughed, because in his eyes I was bluffing. I always had been. And that night I barely slept, but not because I felt guilty. I wasn't past the pain yet, but I wasn't buried in it anymore either. I was somewhere in between, wide awake, lying in bed, eyes on the ceiling, watching the night stretch into dawn. Every insult played back like a reel, every unspoken expectation. Every moment they made me feel small for not having what they had. Kids, debt, chaos. As if that made them noble. As if my peace made me disposable. But as the sun climbed and painted my ceiling in soft orange light, Something inside me shifted. The hesitation, it drained out of me like poison. And what replaced it wasn't just rage, it was clarity. They wanted to treat this like a democracy. Fine, let's talk about voting. I grabbed my laptop and started typing. Subject, holiday contribution changes. Body effective immediately. I'm stepping away from all financial involvement related to the extended family. This includes Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, kids or adults, school tuition assistance, mortgage gap loans, emergency Swift pays, bailouts for vet bills, car repairs, or streaming subscriptions. If you've already spent money using any of my cards, expect a chargeback. If you've saved or shared my financial information without permission, expect legal contact. You voted. I'm voting back. Merry Christmas, the childless one. Then I hit send. To everyone, mom, dad, my sister, all 6 cousins, my aunt who still thinks I owe her for babysitting me in 1994. And then I shut off my phone. It took exactly 7 hours and 16 minutes for them to break. When I turned it back on, it practically exploded in my hand. 53 missed calls, dozens of texts, voicemails full of crying, cousins threatening lawsuits for emotional trauma. A message from my mom that started with, "I'm heartbroken," and ended with, "This is beyond disappointing." And Dad, 12 calls. His final voicemail was one trembling sentence, "Please, for the love of God, don't do this." But it was already done. Because by the time they realized what chargeback meant, I had already filed the fraud report with my bank. $3,600 in unauthorized spending, flagged, Barbie dream houses, on hold, Nerf sniper rifles and Christmas iPads, gone, returned, and the cherry on top, I froze the backup emergency card. So when cousin Lily Hartman tried to book a hotel that night, declined. Twice. The fallout? Nuclear. The next day I got a call from my uncle, the only one who never asked for a dime, but also never defended me either. His voice was low, almost ashamed. "Your mom's in tears," he said. "She says you ruined Christmas." I didn't flinch. "No," I replied. "They ruined it when they turned it into a transaction." He tried to reason. "They were overwhelmed." "No," I cut in. "They were entitled. Big difference." A long pause, then, "You're really charging them back?" "Already did," he sighed. "Well, I can't say they didn't have it coming." Click. That was the last civil conversation I had for days. The real showdown happened 3 days later. I came home from work to find them standing on my porch. Mom, Dad, Aaron McCoy, arms crossed, scowling like she'd swallowed a battery. "Can we talk?" Mom asked, voice already shaking. I opened the door halfway. "Say what you need to say." "We didn't mean for it to happen like that," she said quickly. "We just thought—" "Thought what?" I snapped. "That I'd stay quiet? Smile while you drain my account? Hand over my dignity with a bow and some eggnog?" Dad stepped forward. "Let's not turn this into a war. We're family." I laughed, loud. "You declared war the moment you used my card and called it voting. That didn't feel like family. That felt like theft." Erin McCoy rolled her eyes. "God, are you still on about that? It's not like we emptied your savings?" I snapped. "I paid for your car last summer." "It was just a windshield," she fired back. "You make 6 figures. You'll survive." And right there, I stepped forward. "That's exactly why this ends now. You don't see me as a person. You see me as a walking ATM with casserole privileges." Mom's eyes brimmed with tears. "We were just trying to give the kids a good Christmas." "So you stole from me?" Dad cut in. "Enough. This has gone too far. Undo the chargebacks, now." I stared at him. Didn't move. He tried another angle. "Think about how this looks," he warned. "You want people saying you betrayed your own family over a few toys?" I didn't blink. "No," I said. "I want people to say I finally grew a spine." Then I delivered the sentence that shattered them. "I'm done with all of you. Your numbers are blocked. And this weekend, I'm moving to another state. Alone." Silence, delicious, undisturbed silence. I opened my front door. "Now get off my porch." The next 48 hours, bliss, no phone calls, no manipulative check-ins, no guilt grenades disguised as Just checking on you. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I sat on my floor with a cup of coffee and a Spotify playlist, and I realized I wasn't carrying anyone's weight but my own. No one was waiting on me to fix a crisis, or wire money, or save the holiday. It was quiet, and it was perfect. But I knew my family. They never accept when the donor disappears. By day 3, the manipulation started crawling back. Maybe we should talk like adults. Your mom's sick from the stress. The kids keep asking why Uncle Ghost won't call. I saw every message and replied to none, because I knew they didn't miss me. They missed the benefits that came with me. And then, something I didn't expect. A message from my cousin, Ethan Moore. I screwed up. Can we talk? I didn't respond. An hour later, he was standing at my door, but something was different. Gone was the half-asleep, hoodie-wearing version of him. He was clean, hair brushed, wearing a blazer, a watch even. He looked like someone pretending to be responsible, but maybe trying to. I enrolled in online courses, he said, marketing. I've started working with a friend, Ethan Moore said, his voice unusually steady, trying to get it together, for real this time. I didn't respond. I just watched him. Then after a long pause, he said, I was jealous of you. That's why he lashed out. You had your life. No chaos, no kids, no constant noise. And I hated that. I tilted my head. So, you here for money? No, he said quickly. I came to tell you, I'm not your shadow anymore. For a second, I actually believed him. 30 minutes after he left, I got a bank alert. Someone was trying to reset access to my online account. Guess who? Ethan Moore. He hadn't changed. He was playing a role. He hadn't come to apologize. He came to test the waters, to see if I still believed in the tears. I changed every password, froze the last backup card, called my bank again, and added more security. That was the final time anyone in my family got anywhere near my life. And after that, came freedom. I ended my lease, accepted a job offer in another state, higher salary, better benefits, new apartment, no relatives within 400 miles. But the best part wasn't the paycheck or the city skyline. It was a message from Jenna Collins, Ethan Moore's wife. I saw what he did. I'm filing for divorce. Thank you. You were the only one who ever actually helped. That one hit harder than I expected. She knew. This whole time she knew. But she stayed silent until now. And suddenly I realized maybe this decision wasn't just for me. Maybe me choosing myself gave someone else the courage to do the same. Before I left town, I left one last message in the family group chat. I renamed it, "This bank has permanently closed. Try love instead." Then I hit leave chat. As I drove away, the car packed to the roof and music blaring through open windows, I smiled. I was alone. But for the first time in my life, that didn't feel like punishment. It felt like freedom. It's wild how quiet your world becomes when you cut out the people who never actually listen to you. After I moved to a new state, changed my number, and blocked them all, the silence wasn't lonely. It was peaceful, full-bodied, undeniable. Peace. No more texts that said, "Can you just cover rent this month?" No more guilt bombs disguised as check-ins. No more seeing my phone light up only when their bills did. They were gone, not just quiet, cut off. And for the first time in my adult life, I wasn't financially tethered to anyone else's survival. And for the first time in my adult life, I was surviving on my own terms. I found a new apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. My rules, my budget, my fridge, filled only with things I liked. The first night I slept there, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Not because I expected a call, but because, for once, I knew I wouldn't get one. And let me tell you something. There's a kind of healing that only happens in silence, in not needing to explain yourself, in not having to defend your boundaries every time someone crosses them. That moment when you stop asking, "Am I being too harsh?" and instead remind yourself, "No, you're not being harsh, you're being free." They tried, of course, new numbers, blocked contacts, even a burner Snapcene DM that read, Come home, we're family, enough is enough. I laughed. Enough is enough? That's what I said when you voted to steal from me, and laughed in my face. That's what I said when my own father told me I should do more, because I didn't have kids. That's what I said when my brother, after all of it, still tried to hack into my bank account. But now, enough isn't a plea, it's a boundary, and it's one they'll never cross again. I started therapy, told my therapist everything. She didn't flinch. She just nodded and said, "You were conditioned to believe love must be earned through sacrifice." And that line hit me right in the chest, because that's exactly what it was. They made me believe that unless I gave, I had no value. Unless I paid, I wasn't welcome. Unless I sacrificed something, they wouldn't even pretend to love me. But that's not love. That's control dressed up in tradition. And I escaped it. People ask me now, do you regret cutting them off? Not for 1 second. What I do regret: every birthday party I funded but wasn't invited to. Every trip across town I made to save someone's electricity. Every year I remembered their kids' birthdays, while mine came and went unnoticed. Every time I believed I was the selfish one. Number, I don't flinch when I think of them. They made their decision when they chose to see me as useful, not loved. They voted. So did I. Unanimous? Cut off. But here's the twist they never saw coming. I'm doing better now than I ever did as their emotional and financial hostage. I got promoted. I started traveling, really traveling, not rushing through airports to attend someone else's emergency, not flying cross country to fix a disaster I didn't cause, just going. For me, I'm dating someone now, someone who doesn't want anything from me except presence and honesty. It's refreshing, radical even. I've been rediscovering hobbies I abandoned years ago, back when my life revolved around earning approval. I picked up photography again, started learning how to cook. Real food, not cold takeout eaten at midnight in front of my laptop while covering someone else's rent. I even adopted a dog. I named her Balance. She's quiet, loyal, doesn't expect anything from me but love. And honestly, that's more than I can say about most of my blood relatives. And just when I thought this story was finally done, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "He's out. We're getting divorced. I just thought you should know." It was Jenna Collins, Ethan Moore's now ex-wife. She finally left him. Turns out my brother's transformation came with an expiration date. He spiraled, lost his job, started drinking, burned through the last of his savings. Then she found out he'd still been trying to use my old banking info, even after getting caught. Later she told me, "You were the only one who ever saw it clearly. I didn't believe you before, but I do now." That's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about cutting them off. It was about refusing to carry their delusions anymore. Sometimes when you walk away, you don't just save yourself. You hold up a mirror. You shine a light. And someone else finally sees the truth for what it is. I didn't lose a family. I escaped a scam. So now when people ask, "What happened with your family?" I just smile and say, "I used to be the one who paid for Christmas. Now I'm the one who saved myself from it. And I wouldn't trade that freedom for anything."